Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities? Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday, TGIF, and it is snowing, and our guest here had to drive all the way from the big city. Did you get a lot of snow up where you came from?
Just a dusting, enough to make it pretty.
I know, right? I don't know. I was kind of like got all in the mood yesterday and got out some wreaths at the tap room, and I was like, okay. Seems like a good time to start decorating for Christmas, even though it's a little before Thanksgiving. So, but I don't know, something about some snow falling from the sky makes you feel holiday-ish. So,
White Christmas?
Yeah, very good. And we don't get those a lot here in Ohio anymore. But anywho, we're not here to talk about the weather. We are here to talk about something very, very special that is happening kind of statewide, but also with a big local angle. And we have two guests here this morning. And of course, our friend Cher Black is back. And welcome back.
Thank you.
You were here, I don't know, gosh, could have been 6 months or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. And also, I'm forgive me if I butcher this, because Dr. Scott Langenecker.
Yeah, you got it.
I did it. Okay.
You got it.
And this is so cool. You are a professor and a chair of research at the Ohio State University.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you here, both of you.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to talk about something that's not only so important for our local area, but also the state. And the big word here that is kind of on all of the literature is SOAR, SOAR. And I think some people may or may not have heard briefly of what you all are doing, but you're here today to kind of explain in depth how important this study is and how you all can get involved. And we need people to get involved. That's the whole point, right?
We do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about SOAR. What does that stand for?
SOAR stands for State of Ohio Adversity and Resilience Study.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about what that is.
Sure. SOAR is a recognition that we live now in very challenging times. And there has been, through social and economic factors, sort of a move away where people are feeling kind of disconnected. They're feeling lonely. They're feeling like they're languishing. And what has emerged out of that over the last decade or two is our rates of suicide have gone up and our rates of overdose have gone up. And Ohio is, as many people probably know, at the center of the storm.
And I could ask you why, but the point is that's why you're here.
That's
the why
we're here. Is actually we think we know, but we don't actually really know.
You need proof.
We need people to tell us their stories, and we need to listen and we need to learn. And once we listen and learn, then we can partner together to try and change how things are happening, and hopefully bring hope and bring change for people in Jackson and all around the state.
Yes, and you were telling me off the air that Jackson is kind of a pocket. We're not doing so well down here, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah. The Appalachian Range, which Jackson is right on the edge of.
Which makes us so pretty, by the way.
It was.
We talked about that off the air too.
Very pretty drive down this morning, and great hiking near here as well. But what's happened is, as we've moved away from coal and farming has changed, the economics of Appalachia have changed, and Our innovative American spirit hasn't quite caught up yet, and so a lot of people have felt left out and left behind. And as a result, more people have fallen into opiate addiction. More people have fallen into despair. We don't know why. I just told you a story, but I don't know if that story's true. And that's why we're here, is to actually figure out why people are struggling. And then also, the really important part is, how are people finding meaning, connection, and purpose in their lives and building towards resilience? And what can we learn from people about how, maybe what skills they're using, what communities they're a part of, and how we can spread those words of how people can adjust and adapt and live better lives.
Okay. And no, that makes total sense. And oh gosh, there's so many factors involved that are all coming together. And you're going to learn, hopefully, from a lot of us here in Southern Ohio, what those factors are.
Yeah, I think so.
So, not to bring up, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Sherry, you were here a while ago, a little over a year ago, to talk about something that you were doing to raise awareness and also to raise some help for some folks as you lost your daughter, your precious daughter, to suicide. Yeah. And I think that from our conversation off the air, maybe you have been affected as well. And so you all literally have lived this situation, and that is why I think you're also very interested in being part of this study. And you know, God forbid anybody else out there listening today has had to experience this, but you know, for whatever bad tragedy things that happen, we have to get stronger off of them, right? And or help people along the way. So that's kind of why you're here. So Cher, this is really cool because you are a local lady,
yes,
who is been now involved in this statewide study. So tell us how you got involved.
So I actually carry a picture of my daughter, so I'll just get it out because
please do.
Just reminds me of why
she is just amazing.
Of why it's so important to me, because you can't lose a daughter the way I lost one.
Yes.
Without like being obsessed with prevention. It's just like, because I wish someone could have prevented her, or me, or I could have prevented her. I get very emotional, so I'm going to try to not, but
no, it's totally okay.
You know, the number one question I've discovered, it was my question and lots of people, is like, why?
Yes.
Like, why would this why would she do this? You know, like, we would have done anything for her. Like, why would she think this was her only option? So I think that's what the study is going to, you know, help people like me understand, because there is a science, and, you know, it's not just that, you know, my daughter was weak, or, you know, that she just, you know, wasn't strong enough to, you know, survive life. I mean, then maybe she had some deficiencies, and maybe the study will point out some of what was going on in her head. But for whatever reason, life was too painful. She no longer wanted to live, and finding out why that was, and preventing that from other parents, siblings, losing someone. Because, I mean, your life is just never the same, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And in knowing you personally, I think about your daughter, and I think from the outside looking in, everyone would say, here is this absolutely lovely, physically lovely girl, so talented in sports. She ran, she got a college scholarship to run. Right. Yep. She was the homecoming queen. Yes. Like, what on earth would possess somebody to not think that they were worthy of life, or not want to be, to live on? My goodness, she, you know, was awesome. And I know that why, 3 little letters certainly plagues a lot of people.
And Jennifer Worthy, that's a big thing there. Like a lot of them, you're the researcher, but just from personal experience, a lot of people just feel that they have to prove, like, I'm worthy, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to look a certain way. And if we could just, like, understand, no, like, maybe you're just born worthy. Like, maybe you don't need to do anything. Just, like, being, you know,
Like just existing, you're
Right.
worthy, right?
you know, and if you believe in a God, I mean, we're children of God. Isn't that enough? Like just being like, you know, a child of God, that should just make you like, you know, we're worthy. But people think they need to prove it or something. And my daughter for sure needs to just keep doing like, you know, I got to do this, I got to do that. You know, I'm not enough, you know, and that's not how we viewed her at all. She
No,
was-
the whole world viewed her as, oh my gosh, look at this uber talented, lovely young lady. Like, what?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's the truth. I remember getting the call about that. And I was like, what? Like, what? No way. So, anyway, didn't mean to bring in a personal thing, but I think your relationship with this program and your participation in it, this is kind of why. So I wanted
Exactly.
to,
It is why.
again, we get back to the why.
The why matters.
Yes, absolutely. So, Scott, let's talk about, I'm not allowed to call him doctor. Scott,
Please don't.
let's talk about SOAR in general. And there's a couple of different things that are going on within SOAR that we need you all to help participate in, because that's the whole point.
The whole point is that I don't know the answers. I don't have the answers, and I need to listen, and I need to learn. And it turns out we have better tools now to do the listening and learning than we've ever had before. And those tools are now just down the road at Holzer Medical. We have a brain imaging scanner. We have electrophysiology recordings. We have cognitive testing. We have questionnaires. We have something called ecological momentary assessment, where you answer questions on your phone a couple times a day for a couple of weeks. And
Okay.
all of these tools and all of these techniques are added to your stories, added to your voice, to describe the challenges you might experience, the ways that you cope with those challenges. And part of the reason why it's a whole statewide study is we think it's different. We think it's different in different places, and we
I
think
think
it's
so, too.
different for different people. And we think that there's wisdom here, that people have wisdom here in how to manage some of the challenges we face that we don't know yet.
I think when you get into Appalachia, this is just my opinion, you have a lot of prideful people, and they won't ask for help.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. That's exactly right.
And that is part of the why is we
Yeah.
have this sort of cultural norm. Which I'm going to call it silly, and I'm a man, and I fall prey to this cultural norm as well, which is I should be silent, I should be strong, I should be
Burly
resilient,
man, I should be a man. Yes.
and God forbid I should ask for help.
Sure.
And it turns out if I've got high blood pressure, that attitude isn't going to do me a whole lot of good. If I've got
Correct.
cancer, that attitude isn't going to do me any good. But if I'm feeling a little bit down, if I'm sort of doubting my worth, then all of a sudden that thing kicks in my head and I'm like, I'm not going to go get help.
So why? Yes. So we go back to why.
Yeah.
Why is that a stigma? And you're exactly right. You know, your brain is just another organ in your body. If your heart isn't working properly, or your lungs or your kidneys, you get those fixed, right?
You get those fixed.
You make such a good point there.
And we, you know, one of the things that I think we've kind of forgotten over the years is the wisdom of the ages, which is we as human beings develop to live and survive in small groups, families, church communities, sports communities, and I think we've kind of forgotten that is our strength, and that we naturally asked for help, and we didn't even think twice about it.
Yep.
But now all of a sudden we have to do it all on our own.
Well, it was a given, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's strength in numbers.
And then there's a funny thing about us as humans. Like, I think we have a tremendous capacity to imagine. We can imagine so many things, and we can imagine amazing things, and we can also imagine terrible things. And if
Yes.
you get stuck imagining terrible things,
Yes.
that can be a trap. It can
Sure.
be a trap that keeps you from getting help, and it can be a trap that keeps you from thinking that you deserve to be here.
Well said. I think that's exactly right.
Maybe that's why we're here. We have to
and
learn.
again, this is the part of the why.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically there's a research study going on. Number one, you can earn money by doing this. Let's just throw that out there. Yeah. It's Christmas time. Who doesn't want some money, right? Yeah. But also, I mean, I just feel like this is so win-win because you can be helped however you need help. You're going to get some money out of it, and maybe you're going to help others along the way.
Yeah.
So tell us how people can participate. And Cher, we're going to put her in charge of community engagement, which means recruiting sounds bad. That sounds like, we're like research subjects or something like, like research, like little mice or something. But no, because you have lived here or lived there and done that, I think that you are so qualified.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely, to be part of this study and to help other people and bring other people in and help them understand why it's important.
Right, and as Scott pointed out, we want to study, or they want to study, but they really want to learn. Like the people who are living it.
You're not a lab rat. Like
right.
They're not making fun of you or something.
You're a teacher.
Yeah,
you're a teacher and a partner.
Right.
We need partners.
Right.
Love that. So if someone wants to get involved in this study, and you were kind of telling me off the air that there's maybe two parts to this situation, could we go down that road of explaining both of those?
I didn't bring it. I'm sorry. I got a little waylaid today, and I didn't bring the postcard. But you may get a postcard in the mail.
Okay.
And the postcard in the mail just has Soar on it, and something about perhaps you could help.
Is it like this?
Yeah, it'll have some of the same graphics.
Adrian, do you have these? I do not. Okay.
Yeah. And it's an opportunity. There's a QR code on it. That QR code is actually for the person who it was mailed to, and they can go on their phone, they can answer the questions, and they can make $50 answering the questions about their life, their experience, their challenges, and also their pathways to health. So that's one study, and that's 15,000 people are being asked to participate all throughout the state.
So you're saying that all you have to do is answer some questions on your phone from a QR code, and you get $50.
Yes, and it's less than an hour. And if you've done if you've done it, you'll know. But if you haven't done it yet, it basically is questions about who you are, who's in your family, where do you work, where do you get your health care, where did you go to school, where did you live when you were 10. And then ask questions about.
Can we remember that?
Yeah.
That was a few years ago.
A minute or two. Ask you questions about your mental health. Ask you questions about addiction. Ask you questions about social and family support and community support that you may have or that you may struggle with. And then ask questions about how you cope with the challenges of being a human in 2024. What sort of health-related things do you try? Exercise, church, community, sports, arts and leisure. What are the things that you like to do? And it takes about 50 minutes.
Okay, so that's step one.
Step one, that's the big study. We also have what we are referring to as a family brain health study. And so this is
really cool.
It's pretty neat. I've been doing this a long time, and this is the neatest thing I've ever been a part of.
Okay, so I mean, he just said it right here on this show. Like, this is cool.
So it's a way for you and your family to participate in this study. And as we were talking about, you're a teacher, you're a partner, and it's a long-term study where we're actually trying to understand how your brain works, how you problem solve, how you deal with adversity, and there are no right or wrong answers. Mm-hmm. So if you think your life is going pretty well, you should participate. If you think you're struggling a lot, you should participate. And we want to understand, as Cher, is telling the story, like, how does one kid struggle more? And what's going on in their brain? What's going on in their social networks? that makes them more vulnerable for suicide or addiction or mental health challenges. And maybe one kid who lives in the same family is actually doing better.
Same DNA, same, and that's
Same
the case
environment.
in your personal life. You have two beautiful daughters,
thank you.
and one is thriving and so motivated and whatever, and then it's just wild that two full-blooded siblings can have two
Come back to the why.
separate, yeah.
Come back to the
Yeah,
why
like
and try
why?
and understand it. And then, of course, the answer to the why is, what do we do next?
Sure.
And that's why it truly is a partnership, because some of you may already know the answers. You may already have an answer. Like I'll just tell my story. I got lucky. I almost lost my daughter. And I say this, and I think it's true. I got lucky because I just happened one day to be talking about how with COVID, so many teenagers were feeling lonely. And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, you're not able to go to school like
Right.
you did before. And even if you do, it feels strange.
Yes.
You feel disconnected from your peers." And literally a couple hours later, she walked into my room and said, "Dad, I got a problem. Like, I need help." Like, that offhand conversation was just so lucky for me. I mean, that's exactly how it works. Is
Wow.
we don't know the why until we have these open conversations, and our kids are not ready to have those conversations because those are hard. And I don't have any answers yet. Like,
Sure.
that's just a lucky story.
Yeah.
That's not a panacea or a solution.
No, I'm happy that you're able to tell that story here.
I
though, you
am
know?
very
Right.
grateful to be able to tell that story.
Absolutely. And it also helps you have empathy for the study,
Yeah.
the folks in general. But I think empathy, if we all had more empathy, we wouldn't be talking as much today about this whole situation. But, why and empathy, to just keep those words in your brain, because they're both very, very important. So I can see a lot of people though, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, I'll participate in your study, but I don't want all my junk out there for the whole world to know. Like,
Yeah.
I'll go
Yeah.
in a room and I'll tell you what I'm thinking, but I don't want everybody knowing what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So what would you say to that?
I would say that that's a valid concern. That's a valid fear. We have lots of safeguards, but more importantly, your story is important. But your story and how it matches up with 10 other people's stories and 20 other people's stories is actually the patterns we're looking for. So we get used to telling individual stories, but in science, we're looking at patterns of groups.
Okay.
So if you think of, I call it pathways to resilience, there may be 5, there may be 8, there may be 12 patterns that we can gather and learn from families in Jackson. We were in Ontario. We're going to go to Lima. We're going to go to Youngstown, Cleveland, Toledo, Columbus, Cincinnati. We're trying to get to all places of the state. So first of all, the answer to your question is I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to share your information.
There you go.
That's the
You're
simple.
safe.
That's the simple answer. The second answer is, and we run into this. People are like, I don't want to have my brain scanned. That's kind of a creepy, scary thing.
I mean, I would be up for it. I want to make sure that I can prove that I have one. I think that's fair. There would be people that would take umbrage with the fact
Yeah.
that some of us have brains.
Yeah. But this is kind of the thing
No,
about
I can see the- I
this
can
is
see
the
the
thing
concern.
about the fear that people have, and I want to answer that up front. Like, we're each we are each unique, and to pull from what Cher said before, we are all God's children, whether you believe in God or not. That's irrelevant.
Hey, we got here somehow. It's the
We-
easiest way to think
we
about
got
it, huh?
We got here somehow, and if you don't believe in God, then just say we are all stardust, because that's actually true. And the uniqueness of each person is actually something that's wild and valuable and wonderful. And
So cool.
You could say I'm different. I can say you're unique, but your story still matters to us. And so think about think about it from a perspective of, oh, I've got stuff, and I might have some shame about my stuff, right? I might be afraid of sharing my stuff, and I honor that. I respect that, and also, if you can bring yourself to share your story and share your family's story with us, we can learn. We're not going to learn. I'm not going to pull out my magic crystal ball and learn without you. I can't do it.
And to your question, we de-identify, like you become a number pretty much. Like you're like if you were in our, database, you wouldn't be like Jennifer. You'd be like number,
42C or something.
35,000.
Right.
Right. So there's a lot of safeguards in there, and then there's like HIPAA as well, that kind of protects the person. So anyone who's thinking of joining, you will be protected. The National Institute of Health also did some kind of protective order so that like an attorney can't just subpoena this stuff if they want to, an insurance company wants to know.
This was going to be my next question is because I think that there would be a lot of folks out there that are saying, listen, I'm into I've gotten myself into some stuff that I can't get out of. Maybe it's illegal. Maybe, and so therefore they would be hesitant to come forward with things going on in their head if they thought that they would get in trouble for telling you.
Right. Yeah. And so when they come in and do like we do a urine screen for drugs, just because we want to know like how that would affect whatever like your cognitive, like if you're doing questionnaires or something like that.
And but again, you don't care.
We don't care. We don't care we don't care. We just like note it, and it's that's just the end of it.
Okay.
It just goes to like how it's going to affect the rest of the the tests and stuff. So.
Sure.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is we are what's called mandatory reporters. So there are some categories where we have to help people. So if you're a senior and you are in a senior home and people are taking advantage of you financially,
okay,
and you tell us that story, I've got to do something about that.
Okay, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and if you're a teenager and somebody is abusing you,
okay,
I've got to do something about that.
Absolutely.
But normal human disagreements that happen in families, that's part of what we're trying to understand. And if to Cher's point, we have something called a certificate of confidentiality, which means that if a lawyer comes and says, "Hey, I want that Soar data that you collected," we'll say, "No, actually, no, you can't have it."
Fair. Okay. That's great. I mean, I think that would be something that would keep people from certainly wanting to participate.
And then I guess related to that, people might be a little bit scared to share, "Hey, I've had thoughts around suicide." Like that might be a scary thing to share.
Is someone going to walk in with a straitjacket and take me away? Like, I mean, seriously, I'm not being a smart aleck about it.
No, absolutely. We're here to help, and we actually have folks like Cher and social workers involved who actually work with people to sort of think about like, okay, these are the challenges that you have. How are you going to manage the situation? How are you going to manage the situation? Not how are we going to manage the situation? Mm-hmm. How can we help you to get to a place where you're a little bit healthier? Okay.
So that's what. Gosh, you keep talking about what I was going to ask next, but I was just sitting here thinking, this almost sounds kind of like psychiatry and a study all at one time. Like maybe you can. Where do you draw the line of helping people?
Well, I think Cher's story is a great example. It's good to ask people why we do what we do. Why do I do what I do? I'm a healer. Like God gave me that ability to be a healer, and so I share that with people. And so if you put me in a room with somebody who's struggling, those are the gifts that I'm going to bring to the situation. I can't stop that. Yeah. I can't stop being me.
It's somehow in that DNA of yours, right?
It is. I'm a lucky person, so I share those gifts because those are not mine to hold back.
Good.
What they call that, a savior complex, where you like just have to save.
I have to save everybody. I have to heal everybody.
Yeah. Well, some things are more challenging than that, but
I'll bet.
I acknowledge that that's part of it, and so. I mean, I think that is the commitment that we bring to it, which is we recognize that we can't fix every problem,
Sure.
right? We recognize that, but we're not going to get closer to fixing some problems if we don't talk about them and if we don't study them. And that's why we're here.
That makes total sense. So you are talking about, as you talk about this study, you've mentioned families. So can an individual participate and then not have their family participate? Or tell us a little bit about,
Yeah.
I sign up for this study, then you're going to start recruiting all my family members and they're like, we hate you right now because no, we're not going to do that.
This is an important part of the question. So the reason why we're studying families is that we know that families are the number one source of support when people struggle.
Or the other way too.
Or the other way.
Oh my gosh.
Or the other way. But if you want to participate and you don't want to invite your family to participate, or they won't participate, you can still sign up.
Okay, that's fair.
And in truth, part of our task is to understand how family estrangement occurs, and then of course not to fix it necessarily, because sometimes there's trauma, sometimes there's violence associated with that. So then how do you find a support network that's not your family that can give you the support you need?
And it's also like family, however they define it.
Yes.
Right? So it
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be biologic. It could be like
Absolutely.
adopted, or even like some friends are like family, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we think about just the broader idea of understanding people as part of social networks, that's what we want to understand. And family is for most people, family is the social network that they start with, but then they evolve.
Yes.
There's the family you choose, right?
Yes.
There's a family of blood, and there's family that you choose, and all
Yes.
family is welcome, how you define it. And then we hope to be able to, continue to come back every 2 years to repeat some of the same measurements, to talk to people and to see how things are going, and to see some people are doing better, and to understand, why are you doing better? We want to learn from that.
Yeah, that would be great.
And,
That would be a great thing to study.
And some people are continuing to struggle, and we want to understand that too. And then some folks may actually, be doing worse than they were before, and we want to understand that also. So that's part of, we call it pathways to resilience, but there's both sides of that coin, right? Some folks may be struggling more
Absolutely.
over time.
So, what is your goal at the end of the day with this study?
At the end of the day, with this study, there's a study of heart disease called the Framingham study that began in 1948. And so the thing
few
is,
years ago.
A few years ago. It's still running now.
Wow.
And Framingham is just it's an exurb of Boston. It's about, I think, 35 miles west of Boston. But there are 5,000 people in that little burb at the time in 1948. About 70% of them participated in the study. And this was a time, 1948, when you went to the doctor and said, I'm stressed. They said, well, I think you should get some Marlboros, like smoke, so you can...
Stop it! No.
So you can relax. They did. They
And
would even
here's some
smoke in
Jack
your office.
Daniels too.
Yes. And over time, we've come to appreciate that smoking may help, in the short term with stress, but in the long term, it's really bad for heart health.
Yes.
We've come to appreciate that high cholesterol is a problem for folks. As a part of that study, we've come to appreciate that high blood pressure is a result of that. And now, mortality from cardiovascular disease is about 25 to 30% of what it was in 1948.
Great.
So that if you take that same picture and say from 1948 to 2024, we've reduced the number of cardiovascular deaths by 60, 70%. Could we do the same thing for overdose? Could we do the same thing for suicide? And those of us who are in the healthcare field know that you don't just get people when they're falling off the ledge, falling into the river. You try and understand, well, why did they get to that point to begin with.
Right. Like, how did they get there?
And unlike cardiovascular disease, we don't know the pieces that build up to it. So it comes as a surprise. We lose people in the blink of an eye.
Yes.
And it's a surprise.
Yes.
And we come back to the why
Yes.
and the what ifs. We want to actually move backwards and understand, like, what causes people to start to entertain those types of thoughts? How do people fall into those patterns of behavior? And so in the long term, the goal is to say, for our kids, I look at Soar and I say, this is a promise to our kids and our grandchildren.
Love that.
That there will be a better way to manage mental health challenges in your future, and we're committed to that. And so we're going to understand, how do people move to wellness? And then we're also going to understand some of those early risk factors for people moving on to suicide, moving on to overdose. And hopefully then identify those kids and adults sooner and provide services to help them.
This is all so good. But we need you all to participate because that's the whole point. Please consider being the teacher, teaching
be the teacher,
them.
be the partner, and maybe you can have a point of pride in your family, that you're a Soar family, that you're a leader and a teacher for these challenges that we face right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And there's so many factors I was thinking about and I was talking with Pete Wilson off the air yesterday about this, and why do you have a family where everybody else is this way? There's one person who has anxiety or addiction issues or whatever, when we've all been raised in the same household and we've all eaten the same things and so on and so forth, and
Have the same DNA.
yes, you have the same DNA. You're sharing the same DNA. So you just wonder, and this is what you're trying to figure out. So tell us, so Jen okay, so how do I sign up? How does Jen sign up?
So there is a website, soarstudies.org, that you can go to.
We're going to have an open house on Monday. We'll sign you up then.
Okay.
Show up.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, at the stockroom on
Yeah.
Monday at 4 to 6.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And
don't
I'll be
forget
back in Jackson on Monday. I'll be talking at 5:30 in the stockroom, so you can come and say hi.
And I'll be back and I'll sign you up.
And she's so
there's also-
sweet. Who doesn't want to do what Cher says?
Yeah.
Oh,
And there's also a phone number. I think we can tell people the phone number. It might be on the next page.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is.
It is 614-388-8223. Again, 614-388-8223. So Jen calls 614-388-8223 and signs up for the study. Then what?
Then we set up a time for you to do a visit at Holzer Medical Center.
we are local.
Yeah,
Yep.
we have visits Tuesdays through Sunday. The visits are started as early as 8:30 in the morning, and the last one I think starts at 5 or 5:30.
Yeah,
Okay.
we usually try to leave by 8 p.m., but you got to get started before then.
So we can work around your schedule. I know families are busy. It's a busy time of year.
Yeah.
And so we try and accommodate your schedule, and then you're compensated for the tasks, the elements of the study that you complete.
Okay.
Immediately after. 'Cause I've
Immediately
been
after,
observed.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you do the MRI, you get your $50 unloaded on a Clin card. It's like a prepaid.
Okay.
Card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So some of the tasks that Jen would go through would be,
So we have questionnaires, like I alluded to before, questionnaires about depression, questionnaires about anxiety, questionnaires about alcohol, substances, questions about your family relationships, your social activities, your exercise, your diet.
Okay.
Things that help us to understand how you navigate this world.
And those you don't have to come in on site to do. Like,
Okay.
there are a few things you have to come in on site for.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, so.
We also do some.
God, you don't take my blood pressure, do you?
Oh yes.
You better get another cuff because I'm gonna break it.
We do collect blood, and we will actually. I forget whether we're running this now, but we'll tell you your glucose level. So free diabetes testing. We'll tell you your cholesterol level. So if
Yeah,
it's a little high, you can get that.
So you're getting a blood screening for free. Well, actually getting paid to do that, which is, I mean, definitely a twist.
Yeah.
$25 for the blood.
I mean, typically, you're paying a lot of money for that.
And from a science perspective, we're collecting your blood to look at stress hormones. So how is your body responding to the stress that you experience, and then potentially some genetic markers of risk. Most of the genetic markers of risk actually interact with environment, sort of exposures. Then we also do cognitive testing. A lot of people find it to be challenging and fun, but testing your memory, testing your attention. I know.
That's
And
terrifying.
people are like, "Is this pass fail?" I'm like, I don't give you a grade. I don't look at the scores.
Thank goodness.
And then we do a brain scan. The brain scan actually tells us a little bit about blood flow from different parts of your brain. So we're looking at essentially the health of your brain.
Okay.
But as I was mentioning before,
Or that you have one.
if you have one, we don't actually have, like we do for heart, we don't actually know what the range of healthy brains is. So people are like, "Oh, don't look at my brain. You're going to find out something's wrong with it." Unless there's a tumor or an aneurysm, we don't actually know what a healthy brain looks like in terms of blood flow, in terms of how the nerves are connected. We also have you do some, stress and reward tasks while you're hooked up to the EEG monitor to see how your brain reacts to those sorts of things.
Okay.
What am I missing?
Some risk taking.
Some risk taking, yeah. Risk taking and reward. What am I missing?
The EEG.
The EEG, the electrical. So there's a little cap we put on your head that helps us measure brain signals in your brain, and then we have you do certain tasks, and we look to see how your brain responds to those particular tasks.
See, to me, all this sounds fun. Like to see how you
should come in.
could do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So,
And then
okay.
you could share with other people how it was, like what a great experience. It
Yeah,
was.
no,
So,
that's totally fair. Totally fair. So how much time is this going to take though? It sounds like this is going to be very time consuming, and people work and they have kids and soccer, and well, now we're into basketball and all of this stuff. So
Yeah. So bring your kids. Anyone 12 or older can participate, or kids, bring your parents. Can
There
both
you
ways,
go.
Right? Bring your parents in. So it's about three hours in person, and then probably another 3 hours sort of doing things online. But it can be spread out into multiple visits.
Okay.
We're actually adjusting to people's schedules all the time.
Okay.
And that's the goal is if people are thinking, "Oh, I can't do that because I'm too busy," then we have to figure out a way for them to be able to participate because their voices matter just as much as anybody else's voice.
We want busy people.
Well, I was going to say, it sounds, kind of sometimes the busy people are who you need to talk to, who would be maybe more stressed out or
Yeah,
have all
absolutely.
of this stuff going on, and how do I problem solve, and how do I do all of these things?
Yeah.
You'd be a perfect participant. You're busy.
They'd stop it. She doesn't have a brain. Well, thank you. Yes, definitely busy on that. Okay, so this sounds like a really very, very interesting study. It's unfortunate. I appreciate the fact that you all have chosen our area. It's unfortunate that our area qualifies to be chosen. But that being said, if you all participate, perhaps we can get some help to the folks that need it.
And there's a lot of resilience in the area too. I mean, there's a lot of negatives, but there's very resilient people in this neighborhood too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I should say that. So the predominant the predominant pattern of humans is adaptation and resilience. Like that is what happens for 55, 60% of us. And then another 30%, we do okay, but maybe we could do better.
Sure.
And then there's some people who are struggling. And the thing that people maybe forget sometimes is I figured it out, just do what I do. And that can come across a little bit like, I call it you're shoulding on me. Like you should do something and then you should on people. You should do that thing rather than having a conversation or providing support because if the person could and they would have already, right? So,
Sure.
So there's something that's not quite clicking,
Yes.
right? And so it's not that they can't, it's just that the system and the situation isn't set up so that they can be their best self.
And that's the whole thing. Well, empathy comes back to empathy a little bit.
Holding a little bit of grace for people.
Yes. I know sometimes, yes, we all get a little frustrated with others sometimes. And you're like, why can't you figure this out? Or why don't you know how to do this? So, but yeah, let's all help each other out. And again, by participating in this study, you're helping others for the future.
Exactly.
You're helping yourself too along the way,
Yeah.
and your family, but also helping future generations.
Showcasing a little bit of Ohio grit. There'll be some of that too.
Oh heck yeah!
Oh heck yeah.
Yep.
Go Bucks. But no, I think this is amazing, and we hope. So, if anybody has any questions or they're on the fence about participating, how would they get answers?
So we have the website. I think there's a place there. The phone number. We do check that frequently.
soarstudies.org. SOAR studies.org.
Not to be confused with another local organization also named Soar.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I could give you my phone number, but I don't know if I should give it to everyone.
Don't do that. Then you would need to participate twice in this study. No, or
But
give them a call.
We'll be here on Monday.
So open
in the
house
stock
on
room.
Monday.
Yes, I will be there to sign anyone up who wants to participate. So yeah.
Sure. So, you answered this question before, but I want to reiterate, we live in a small town, and there are many, many things that come from living in a small community that are great. But there's also this thing of everybody and everybody business. So it could be awkward for someone to come in and say, well, I know Cher. I now know you. I don't feel comfortable.
Right.
I'm afraid that everybody's going to know what's going on with me, or I've got this dirty little secret that I am going to tell.
We have other locations.
We have other locations, but I would also
And that's
say
fair.
that we want people from all walks of life to participate. So that means that if I participate, if you participate, if Cher participates, nobody knows actually if we're the folks where things are going pretty well, or the folks where things are not going so well,
Okay.
or there's a dirty little secret. Like nobody's going to know
Because you're number 42
Exactly.
25.
We're going to
3.
have 50 people doing great, 50 people not doing so great, 50 people doing whatever. It doesn't matter because it's all de-identified. It's all anonymous.
Okay.
So even though you might say I'm in the Soar study, nobody will know why, right?
Sure. Absolutely. And you're exactly right. We need people doing great. We don't need all people doing not great.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We
And
want to learn from you. We want to learn
Yes.
what's working, what works.
yes.
So-
What are you doing that you're doing great? And
Right.
Yeah.
or are you is it just the way you are?
Right. Right. You just got great DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people. I mean, I admit I'm one of the people who's lucky. I wake up in the morning and I feel like I could climb a mountain, and I recognize
God bless you
that.
for that.
But I recognize that not everybody gets that feeling when they wake up in the morning, and how frustrating it could be to wake up with a different feeling.
Yeah. And
Because
I think
I don't dial it up at night. I don't say climb a mountain tomorrow, Scott. Like I just wake up and I have joy. I have energy. Like I'm lucky. I'm a lucky person.
yeah. You are. I mean, I guess so.
I'm
I
grateful
guess
for
you would
that.
say lucky.
But maybe we could learn. Maybe there's something that I do that moves me a little bit closer to what I consider to be lucky, and maybe there's things that maybe sometimes I do that move me further away. I'm like,
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. So do you guys participate in this study?
I was going to. I heard it's a conflict of interest or something.
Oh.
There's some hindrances to.
Okay,
to
if you're
that, but-
working within
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually I think I was the first person who had their brain scanned for
Oh,
Soar.
so you. All right.
But I'm not a part of. I mean, I guess they could use my data, but we do quality control. So
I see. Okay.
So one of the things that I promised myself that I would do when I started this job, 25 years ago, is that everything I asked somebody else to do, I would do.
Love that.
Because first of all, if somebody asked me, well, what is that all about? I can answer the question.
Sure.
It's awkward if you can't. But second of all, like sometimes you think it sounds great, and then you try it yourself, and you're like, no, actually, let's not do that.
We need to tweak it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We should send him to corporate America because why somebody sitting in an office somewhere makes a decision and it affects somebody in a whole other state, and that doesn't make one bit of sense whatsoever.
Right.
So-
Right. It won't work even. It's
No,
not gonna
right.
Work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I could go all day and tell you things that I've seen like that. But anyway, well, wonderful. We're so happy that you stopped by today.
Yeah.
Please come to Stockroom on Monday. Again, the time.
It's from 4 to 6, but I think the main time, the speaker, actually, Mr. Alan Stockmeister,
Okay.
speaking at 5:30. 5:30.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So come somewhere between 4 and 6 and you can find out information. You can sign up.
I'm told there'll be some some little goodies to eat.
Refreshments.
yeah.
We all like
Yeah.
the F word.
Yeah.
It's called food.
Right. There'll be food. Yeah.
There will be food.
There'll
so
be
there you go.
food and hopefully a little bit of fun. I know this can be a heavy thing to talk about, but as coming back to that point, like, and I lied before. I don't always wake up feeling like I could climb a mountain, but most of the time I do. But more importantly, bringing back to this concept of we are problem solvers.
Yes.
Like we're built to solve problems. That's our superpower as humans. But we can't do it if
Some.
we don't. We can't do it if we don't actually learn what the problems are, and we
Yep.
can't do it if we don't already learn from people who have figured out the solutions.
You're
so
right.
that's why we're here.
Love that. And we need you. So please come out, participate, give them a call, check out the website, all of that. And if nothing else, you'll be helping people within our community.
Yes. And thank you, Jennifer, for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This has
so
been
much.
so fun and informational. And y'all are welcome back anytime. Please come back and see us.
We will.
Yes.
We'll be back.
Yeah, from the big city. Yes. All right. Well, we do, I believe, have another message, and then we will be back with Cheryl, and she is going to talk about something fun we have going on here for the holidays. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend,
Thank you.
and we'll see you back on the other side.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
All right, and we are back with our good friend Cheryl, who has been crocheting yet again. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day and weekend. And you have been at it again. So our sweet Cheryl is always doing up to something.
Always have to be.
Always up to something.
Always up to something.
And so I'm seeing this little gnome guy here with a whole total media sign. So
That's Corbin, the total media elf.
well, but we have a live Corbin.
We do, Adrian.
1 second. I got you.
Let's show everybody Corbin, the full-size total media elf.
Grabbing it. I'm sorry.
Can't?
I can't. It's not a file that works. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll get it sent over to you. So this year at Total Media, we are fully embracing the holiday season, and we are preparing to flip 6 of our radio stations in the area to 24/7 Christmas music. So we have
Love that.
Ho Ho Radio. So if you are in Jackson, it'll be Mix 96, and everybody is flipping next Wednesday, I believe. I think that was the final say was next Wednesday.
Super.
The 27th. What day is the 27th? Or is that Thursday? No, Wednesday. So on Wednesday. So all of the 6 stations are flipping next Wednesday to 24/7 Christmas music. So here in Jackson, it's Mix 96, WKOV. Up in Waverly, Chillicothe, it'll be Hank FM, where Lori Graves is at.
Okay.
In Gallipolis, Point Pleasant area, it will be K92. In Athens, it will be WATH. That'll be Christmas music. Who am I missing? Oh, up in Greenfield, it'll be WVNU, which is one of our newer stations that we've added.
Okay.
It's the light. And then finally, our newest station that we've added is WIRO in Ironton, and they will be flipping to Christmas music as well, is my understanding. So we have
Fun.
we have 6 stations, one in each of our markets, that will be playing holiday music all the way through until Christmas. We will be at so many events, including the tree lightings in Gallipolis and in Jackson. On the 7th, we'll be here in Jackson at the tree lighting. And so we have a lot of stuff going on in the community, and so we are trying to bring it in as well. So we have Corbin, our holiday elf, and he's making the rounds around Stockmeister Plaza. He spent the day with our Telegram editor, Pete Wilson.
Okay.
Spent a fun day with Pete. And yesterday, he spent the morning with Matt McKee over at Mix 96.
Okay.
So that he had a lot of fun over there. He's been getting into some trouble. And today, he has visited Main Street TV to be our guest as well. And so, yeah, he's got a lot of stops on the way.
He's a busy elf.
He's a very busy elf. And, you know, kids get an elf at their house to watch them and make sure they're doing well and report to Santa.
That's true.
Those are house elves.
Yes.
Corbin is a work elf. And we asked Corbin what a work elf was. And it's because he wasn't very good at making toys or cocoa. And so he was sent here to learn new jobs, because he doesn't have a career as a traditional elf.
I see.
Yeah, he wasn't doing too well.
He's
at that,
kind of the outcast like the rest of us.
a little bit, yeah. So I mean, here he's got a lot of opportunities to learn so many different things. I mean,
He definitely can.
he's gonna learn basketball broadcasting and journalism and who knows what else.
I think he has a lot to learn.
But yeah, he's been getting around.
Okay.
And he's on all of our social media. And so there's videos of him and Elfies with his different mentors around the plaza.
Yes.
So
my job is to teach him how to run his mouth. Okay.
because he's a quiet little guy.
He is quiet.
He's a quiet little guy. But
Well, our guests were asking me off the air why he has his eyes covered, and I said because
full-size Corbin
Corbin walks around with his hat like that all the time.
Full-size Corbin walks around like this. So all he has is his nose poking out.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how he keeps from like running into walls and stuff.
We don't know.
And
they said
somehow he does.
that explains it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. He it's a pretty good representation of full-size Corbin.
A full-size Corbin.
Full-size Corbin.
Yes. So
So visit us on social media.
Yes.
We're going to be doing some giveaways for Columbus Zoo tickets and some other fun holiday tickets. And so you can enter to win. Just kind of fun. We've got, we're just trying to make work fun. So every day we have a question of the day or something fun. It usually has to do with, a lot of times has to do with testing food. So we've tested pickled Doritos, and then the other day we tested peanut butter and jelly M&Ms. So you can find out.
I didn't get to do that one. Dang it. What did you think?
You know what? I was probably the lone one that wasn't a big fan.
Not as you had hoped.
No, and I was so excited for
Yeah.
them. I've been looking for them, and then somebody told me they found them at Dollar General, and I went like immediately to go get them. Oh, there's full-size Corbin.
There's full-size Corbin.
Full-size Corbin.
Yay!
And so he's been getting up to some mischief. But no, I was very excited to go find them. I went to Dollar General and I bought them, and I'm very picky about jelly. I'm not a fan of grape jelly. I'm really picky, and
I'm just not a fan of jelly in general.
it had a grape jelly kind of flavor to it. But everybody else in the plaza loved them.
I don't.
Yeah. No, everybody loved them. They I expected it to have more of a peanut butter flavor, maybe with a little bit of jelly.
Yeah.
And the jelly was pretty prominent. So if you're a fan of jelly, definitely pick them up.
Yeah.
Definitely pick them up. I was a much bigger fan of pickled Doritos.
Okay.
I ate the entire bag. The whole
I didn't try those either.
I ate the entire.
Jeremiah says yes. He just stuck his finger in here.
Yeah.
His
Jeremiah
thumb.
liked the
not the
M&M.
other finger.
Jeremiah liked the M&Ms too. So yeah, you can watch the video, find out how everybody felt about the M&Ms and the Doritos. I mean, we'll try them before you have to, and or Dylan's swigging Pepto-Bismol. So in preparation, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, Dylan, when I was your age, when I was a freshman in college, everyone came to my room because I had the Sam's Club bottle of Pepto because I drank. It was like my daily, shot of Pepto because I was such a nervous Nelly that, yeah.
I have a good video to share. Let me see if I can find it. You may have to check online to see it. Yeah, we'll put it online. But yeah, no, we've been having fun, just trying to make work fun.
Yeah.
Fun at work. So
it's
a fun place to work.
Yeah, I feel like for some reason this year, and I don't know what's wrong with me because I am the original Grinch when it comes to Christmas decorations and all that, but yesterday the snow started flying and I was like, all right, girls, let's start decorating this brewery. And, and I got the wreaths out at least and I hung up some lights and I'm like, okay, let's do all this stuff. And I think people for the first time this year are just feeling a little bit maybe more Christmassy than they had.
Well, it's so funny. My family thinks it's absolutely hilarious that I'm in charge of this whole holiday situation because I am not a decorator for the holidays. I'm happy going to the movies on Christmas and sleeping in. And
Yep, same.
Yeah. And so my family thinks this is like karma. Yeah.
Hey, listen, you could have worse karma.
I guess so.
That's right.
I guess so.
That's right.
Because I'm a little grinchy. I'm a little grinchy.
Well, how can you be grinchy with little Corbin here?
I know. He makes me laugh.
He does. And you knitted his pants, so.
I did crochet his pants.
I would say knit. You crocheted his pants.
I crocheted his pants.
Yes.
And I really wanted him to have red pants because Corbin, the elf, is very specific about his pants.
Yes.
Red pants with a white stripe on the side.
Yes.
And so I wanted to honor Corbin, the full-size elf. And so, yeah.
There you go. So stop by and see him. Get an Elfie with him.
Yep. Stop by and get
Or
him.
out and about.
Yep. He will be out and about. He will be at, he'll make some appearances at Stockroom and he'll be at the tree lightings, stuff like that.
There you go.
Out in our other markets.
Yep. You got
Whether
him.
it's a you might find full-size Corbin. You might find fun-size Corbin.
Fun-size Corbin. I like it. Either way, get an Elfie.
I guess either way it's fun-size.
Yes.
This Corbin's kind of fun-size.
Yes, he is. For sure.
But yeah, he is our resident elf.
Yes.
365 days a year, I think.
That is true.
So.
Yep. All right. Well, it's a little after 10. We do need to get out of here. We want to thank our friends, Sharon Scott, for coming in talking about this very, very important study that they are doing in conjunction with Ohio State, our friends here at Holzer, and many, many other places throughout the state of Ohio, basically studying our mental health and figuring out what the heck is going on with us all and how we can help folks and prevent these suicides and overdoses and a lot of the things that go on that, we would love to prevent.
And just people feeling crummy.
Yeah, and just people feeling crummy in general. So, all right, have a great day. It's supposed to warm up just a hair, so that's a good news. And
be sure to come shopping at the Jackson County Women's Club Candy Shop.
That's right.
Is open tomorrow.
You want to talk about Christmas cheer?
You know what? You can stop by. Corbin might be there.
You never know.
At the Jackson location, Corbin might be there, so you could stop by and take an Elfie with him there.
And get some great candy along the way.
And say hey to me, because I'm working all day
say,
tomorrow.
Hey, Cheryl.
Because I will be there all day tomorrow. So you can come and say, we were somewhere the other night, I think at the fundraiser for the food pantry the other night, and a guy walked up to me and said, I've seen you on the radio.
Don't you love that?
And I was like,
yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's some pretty serious eyesight,
yep.
if you can see me on the radio. But yes, stop by and say hey. Tell me you saw me on the radio.
It happens all the time. My other favorite one, and then we'll get out of here, was we used to replay this show at night back when we were on the cable. And people would say, I go to bed every night with you. Or I fall asleep to you every night. And I'm like, I don't know how to take that. It's weird.
And you're there when I wake up, too.
Right,
you didn't really do the walk of shame out of there in the middle of the night. That's sweet. Yeah, I don't know how I would take that.
All the weird things.
But stop by the candy shop in Jackson. I'll be there tomorrow. Or if you're out in Wellston, we have a location out in Wellston as well. There's like 88 different kinds of candy. It's crazy. It's really, really hard working in a candy store. It's really hard.
I can imagine.
Yeah. The work isn't hard. Just being surrounded by self-control. Being surrounded by that much candy is hard. So
not good. So, all right. Well, have a great day, everyone, and we'll be right back here on Mondays. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
From breaking news to heartwarming stories, the Telegram is your ticket to the latest buzz in town.
Read your daily dose of local headlines, sports, and entertainment and more, in hand and on paper.
Get a print and digital subscription for only $7.95 per month. Delivered fresh every Wednesday and Saturday.
Visit thetelegramnews.com or call 740-286-3023 today.
Don't just read the news,